Latin from scratch the compounds of the verb sum, a verb which of course we already know from the beginning, but it has many compounds, and these are formed by the addition of a preverb, that is a prefix, to add shades or change the meaning completely of the verb sum. So this is an important class because there are, as I said, many compounds of the verb sum, that is the verb sum with preverbs or prefixes, and if we don't know that these verbs are compounds of the verb sum, then we might get confused, and we will see that mostly when we practice with the sentences and we find verbs which are compounds of the verb sum, etc. Okay? So, most frequent compounds of sum. Each verb, like every verb, can potentially have as many compounds as there are preverbs. And this is the case with sum, but we are going to study and learn by heart. We have to learn this by heart, okay? It's a small list, okay? So it is not so hard. We have to learn by heart the most important compounds of sum. They are the following. And here we have this list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a very short list. Absum. So here we see that is sum ab. We know this preposition. So be away from, be far from, etc. So actually from here we have absence, okay? Adsum, which is sum ad. So quite obviously be present or attend. Then possum. This one is very interesting because we see that it is can plus infinitive, whatever infinitive, no? So possum, and here of course we see that pos is not itself a prefix. I mean, it's not a preposition. It's just like some prefix which is used to say possum, so can plus any infinitive. No? So for example, I can fight. Then praesum, preside over, lead, be in charge. Usually for example, in Caesar, etc., it will be mostly be in charge plus dative. No? So in English we would say be in charge of this legion. So that of this legion would be plus dative in Latin. Then prosum, which is be useful or favor or help someone. And the last one that we are going to study is supersum, which is survive, remain, as in has not disappeared, died, etc. Okay, so again, we have to learn these verbs by heart. We have to learn their meanings, and that's it. I mean, it's really not so complicated. All of these verbs are intransitive, except for possum, which has a nominal direct object infinitive. Now, of course, we have to talk about the irregularities. Most of these verbs are conjugated exactly the same as sum, with the preverb, but two of them, prosum and possum, have special irregularities, which we also have to learn by heart. So let's start with prosum. The irregularity in the verb prosum lies in the preverb, which can appear as pro or prod in the following distribution. So when do we have pro and when do we have prod? We have pro when followed by a consonant. So for example, sum is the basic form, sum. So it starts by a consonant. So pro, we have pro. Then we have prod when followed by a vowel. So for example, here we have eram. So we wouldn't say proeram, we would say proderam. Okay? And actually, like, the stress goes here because this e is short. Okay, so proderam. And now we will practice this more in the texts, but in the activities, in the translations. But let's focus here for a moment. If we find this verb, just like this, proderam, and we don't know that it is a compound of the verb sum, we would say, okay, so we find this morpheme what seems to be the morpheme of the pluperfect, and we would say this is the pluperfect of some verb proto or whatever. But no, it is not pluperfect. It is eram, so it is imperfect. Okay, so you have to pay attention to that because it's kind of tricky. Then we have the verb possum, and we see that there is some more theory. Although there are similarities in the distribution of the irregularities, there is more to it. Like, it is not as simple as this. There is more. We have pos and pot. Now, how do we distribute these two variations? Pos when followed by a consonant, so sum, so we have possum. And pot when followed by a vowel, so we have eram, so poteram with T. Okay, so that's pretty much like before. Now, apart from the variation in the preverb, there are some more irregularities which we also have to learn. First, the present infinitive undergoes a simplification. So it would be, the infinitive of the verb sum would be esse. And then, according to this, it would be potesse. No. It would be, we just lose this syllable te, so we have posse. We just learned it by heart. Which also affects the imperfect subjunctive. We know that the imperfect subjunctive looks like the present infinitive plus the endings, no? So, possem, it would be potessem, possem, potesses, posses, etc. And then, the perfect stem loses the F, which makes it potu. Okay, so because it would be fu, and according to this would be the perfect stem, no? And according to this, we would have the form pos. So we would have something like pos fu, whatever, no? But no, we lose the F, so now we have a vowel, so it would be T. So po tu. Of course, this we just learned by heart, and that's it, no? So posfueram, no. Posueram, no. Potueram. Okay, so that's it. This class, it might look like there is a lot of information, a lot of things to learn by heart, but it's really quite simple. Now, the next class, we might say that it has more information. So let's continue with irregular verbs.